Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of June 8th through the 12th. I will go over price targets on the 5-minute time frame, have a gap recap from June 1st through the 5th, and update the chart as well. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is Boeing. We ended the week at $215.45, down 0.91%. This is where we ended at the middle of the trend, basically. And that is $215.74. We are at resistance. We could chop sideways, but if we make another leg up, that will take us to $219.55. This is another potential take profit area as well as resistance. And then at 3 standard deviations, another potential take profit area, also resistance, 221.52. And at 4 standard deviations down the road, that will take us to 223.38 to the south side. That will hit this gap that begins at 212.80, negative 2 standard deviations, and another level of support and a potential buy-in area as well as a potential stop loss area, 211.83. And below that, 209.95. So this gap closes out at 211.08. So we gapped up and eventually it will close to the downside. So there is a short opportunity. Now, this gap that took us down to 210 right here that I mentioned previously touched. All right, and it was support and we bounced all the way up here, which is this. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We bounced up, let me move this so I can, here, and then fell back down a little bit and then just grinding our way down this line. That's the middle of the trend, but we had a pop, and then that's 3 standard deviations at 221.62, and then we fell down. So 210 is no longer in play to the south side. Congrats if you went short and made some money. Let's delete the price labels. And I think I have, yeah, one more right here. This opened up on Wednesday, April the 8th. And 218 is done as well. Note the bounce here at support. These lines turn into support or resistance. And then what else happened? So we had this gap that touched at 219.76. This is an expected move that played out nicely. Congrats if you went short there. Done. And then this 219, oops, let me get this out of, so what happened here that I didn't clean up? Okay, so we gapped down, which means we filled to the north side, and that touched out, oh, let's see, I gotta move this line. We had no trading on Monday, so on Tuesday it touched right there, and that took us up to 221.54. and started at 219.65-ish. So that's done. Now we have this gap that will take us to roughly 230.58 or 230.70. What the heck? 74. All right, let's turn on my, oh, that's because I didn't turn on my magnet. If you snap a magnet, it gives it a more precise number, 230.70. All right, I'll go with that, give or take, generically. Oh, and then we have, what do we have here? Now that was the gap. Okay, that's it. And then other gaps to the north side, we're hitting a target of 260.36 down the road. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close, just something to be aware of. And to the downside, we have more landmines, 199.15, 186.73, and then look at this little bugger here. That will take us down to 182.66 eventually. Spent too much time on Boeing. Next one up is Nike. We ended the week at 42.98 for Nike, down 1.47%. This is where we are, but let me move this line. There we go. We're off a little bit. Resistance, potential take profit area, 43.38, 43.60, and down the road, 43.83. We are still in a downward channel here. The middle of the trend takes us to 42.96. That is support, a potential buy-in area, potential stop loss area, or an area that we could eventually grind sideways if we turn around. Now below that at -2 SD, 42.52, 42.31, and 42.10, another potential stop loss area, as well as a potential buy the dip area. Now, what happened last week? This gap closed. All right, there was a gap that I talked about at 44.94 and it touched. All right, that touched on Tuesday, January the 2nd. Delete, no longer in play. Congrats if you went short. So we were up here and then fell all the way down. And then, boom, a bounce off of support, a bounce off support into resistance, sell off down to support, resistance, and the cycle repeats itself. Now, let me extend this one at 46.09, and that touched on Monday. That's no longer in play. Congrats if you made some money there. And we are looking for a fill at 52.76 and some other ones down the road as well. But right now, not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. Okay, look at this. We could hit this area 41.37. But by the end of the week, maybe 42.10. And then retracing back as well to that other level. For NEO, we ended the week at $5.36, down 5.8%. 551, 558, 565. And let's move this over. All right, we're basically at the middle of the trend, the median, the baseline, an area where we can grind sideways, and really we are at the same purple line where we were in 2025 that I marked out a long time ago. Let's just see if I can even extend that far back right here. No, I'm not even going to bother. I will just erase it. I don't need any of these lines. This is just to show you if you have not developed a system for yourself and charted like I like to do to show me support and resistance very easily. So I just deleted that line. We could chop sideways or follow this line down. All right, to the south side of that, -2 SD, 521, just retracing. The yellow line is from 2024. Okay, that's 514 and 506. Now looking left, what happened? Look at this. So out of the gate, we had a great Monday all the way up here at 626, and then what happens? Back down to support. Oops. Okay, fell back down, support, bounced up to resistance, kind of went down and then sideways and then another leg down, kind of sideways, bounced back up to support, going sideways, dropped another leg, and then now sideways for consolidation. And will we go up? That remains to be seen, but the market got clobbered on Friday. All right, 560 filled on Friday, June 5th. So congrats if you went short and made some money in this expected move. Now what else? I will extend this gap because it opened up. Let's just take it all the way through. And we have this gap at 508, touching down at roughly 498-ish. And then we have this puppy down here as well for a short opportunity or an opportunity to dollar cost average or take a position. All right. So what happened here? Oh, okay. I had extended this gap because, again, we have no idea when it's going to touch. This opened up on Friday, May 15th, and it touched when we had that massive run up with the wick. The wicks get you in and out of a trade faster than the bodies usually. That took us to 625. So congrats. And you know that's resistance. You know what's going to happen. You know people are going to take their profit and run, lock in and leave, and they sure did. And that's where they bounced off of support on the way down. So this is done. And you know what? Because this line is a line that I drew also previously. Oops, I'm going to delete that line because I want to show you the gap line and leave the gap line there. Okay, that's done, 625. Oh, let's look at this thing. This closed, tiny one nonetheless. It closed on Tuesday, May the 12th, taking us to 603. I forgot to put a price label on it. And then now I must, oh no, that's correct. 653 is the next target. And then another target up above, but we'll deal with that one later. Okay. Right now in a downward channel and taking us down there. Okay, that is it for NEO. Next up is Tsly. I did buy some, but it went down even more after I bought it. This one's whipped me around all over the place, but that's okay. All right, first your price targets. We're at 27.51. Resistance, 28.21. Middle of the trend baseline where we could chop sideways for the week. Up next, two standard deviations, 29.22, 29.72, and then down the road, roughly 30.22. Like I said, the whole market basically tanked on Friday. Did not look good. So we started the week at 30.63 and made our way down here at 27.39-ish, 40-ish. There was resistance, obviously, for a potential pop to get out, but it also trapped us. All right, so I bought some here. This gap down to 28.24 actually closed, so that needs to be updated. That touched on Friday the 5th, taking us down to 28.24, so congrats if you went short. I was actually going to buy here, and I just didn't look left and go way back. So then I thought, I don't care if it pops because of SpaceX, and then all of Tesla, SpaceX, and then Tsly, Tesla run. I'm like, I just had a buy order and I hit it and I never adjusted it because I've been slammed this week. All right, what else? So we had that gap closed. Okay, this gap, gaps within gaps. Well, this one closed. This took us down to roughly $29.99, and that touched on Monday the 1st, so that's done. So you have to go back and clean up the chart. And then we hit it, and that's support, and it bounced off that. Now we have this gap to fill. That also will hit resistance up there. And then this one, what happened here? No, it didn't touch. We have a gap fill at 31.64-ish. See, that didn't touch here, so I'm extending that. Yeah, a couple gaps to the north side, so that'll be nice whenever we retrace. Not there yet. Okay, here's your clear resistance, and then a bleed out. Look at this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, I might just put another order down here and here. I'm just dollar cost averaging. Well, I bought some here previously. I could have sold all of this when we popped previously, and I didn't. Silly me, but that's okay. Set your stop loss. It helps you save your butt. Okay, last one, 1635 for Rivn. Let's move that. The middle of the trend for Rivn is 1719. This is resistance, middle of the trend, potential take profit area, or an area where we could grind sideways. 1836, 1895, and then down the road, 1953. To the south side, I know you can see all these lines. Again, I don't need any of it to trade. I just need one line, and that would be, well, a couple lines. The red, white, and blue lines I like. 1601, 1543, and 1483. The middle of the trend just helps me kind of see where we could be headed. It's like a guardrail. All right, that touched on Friday at 1670. Congrats if you went long. Oh, no. No, wait. No. It touched at the beginning of the week. I didn't go look left enough. That touched on Monday, June 1st. That took us to 1670. Congrats. 1670. Done. Okay. And it started at 1652. Delete. Now that's hard to see because I have this line which turns into support or resistance, and I will delete that just because that way you could see the gap clearly. But you know what I did last summer. Just kidding. All right. This gap closed at 1670. This gap closed at 1639. So congrats. Let's delete that. Delete that. We hit it. Delete. Okay, and just to clean it up so you could see the gap clearly, now that you know. Oh yeah, that's way back. I'm not even going to go left. Let's just delete this so you can see the gap, how it closed. All right, and then this gap I already touched and closed that out. So 1252 to the south side, 1138 as well. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close, but just something to be aware of whenever we retrace. Rivn was at the top of the leaderboard last week, and now we're at the bottom. The stock market taketh and the stock market giveth. Mostly taketh. No, just kidding. I've done super well for myself. I cannot complain whatsoever. All right, so that's the gap we're looking for. We tickled it down here at 1825, but did not close, got slammed. And do we have anything else to the upside? Oh, 2335. Ugh. All this because we had a rug pull. All right, that does it for me. That is a look at Boeing, Nike, Neo, Tsly, and Rivn. I hope you have a super fantastic trading week.